Hello, this is Kevin Annett. It's September 14th, 2015. We are on the brink. This is a time for understanding and reclamation. On September 22nd, the world's oldest lie and its greatest crime is coming to the heartland of America. The aim of this power is to enlist Americans in its plan to establish a single tyranny over humanity. Not a one-world government, but a global corporatocracy of one master and many slaves. The mask worn by this power is the Church of Rome and its ruler, Jorge Bergoglio. For many years, I've helped to document and expose the murderous nature of this power, called the Vatican, and I've helped to prosecute it for its crimes against children and so many others. In so doing, we have pulled back its deceptive mask and shown it for what it is, in all of its corruption, ritual sacrifice, and murder. And as we have done so, we have revealed how cowardly this entity is, how in fact it has no true power, but flees from our exposure of it, and hides behind its lies so as to continue to confuse humanity now that we see it for what it is. And so, despite our exposure of this oldest enemy of mankind, its hold over the hearts and minds of many people continues. Because of our success in exposing and confronting it, this power in Rome has donned a new deceptive mask in the form of a smiling old man in a white robe who speaks of compassion while he honors and makes of a saint a mass murderer of Indian people, who calls for saving the planet while funding and profiting off GMO companies, big pharma, and the arms industry, and who presents himself as a new hope for mankind while hiding his own trafficking and murder of innocent children. And very soon, this smiling lie, calling itself Pope Francis, will be meeting with the United States government and the United Nations to enlist their help in opposing a new global tyranny over mankind. Now, to those with understanding, we have no need to explain the demonic nature of the Vatican and its imprisoned followers. But whether or not we share this understanding, we are united with men and women around the world in our determination to stop the crimes of the Vatican and abolish its power in the world. And we have learned from hard-won experience that we can, in fact, halt and undermine this thing called the Church of Rome, despite all of its apparent power, but only if we use the weapons of God and our own humanity to nullify the authority of Rome and its puppet governments and laws. Now, this past week, we have demonstrated once again how even a few of us standing in the power of truth can force the Vatican to back away from its plans. For when Jorge Bergoglio learned that some of our people plan to confront and stop the child trafficking event known as the World Meeting of Families in Philadelphia, he changed his itinerary to avoid the most public aspect of that event. Bergoglio knows his own guilt and the crimes of his church, and that guilt makes him weak and defensive. For he knows too how our same efforts forced the removal of his predecessor, Joseph Ratzinger, and that Jorge Bergoglio himself faces a standing citizen arrest warrant because of his own violation of children. The truth itself is God's own revealed power, but it needs men and women to wield it. We cannot act alone. It is now time for everyone of conscience to stop this global criminal power in Rome. Everyone, starting with the police and the judges and the soldiers who are the peacekeepers of America, who can and must defend our children and our liberties against the openly murderous Church of Rome, especially now that the United States government is aiding and abetting its crimes and thereby is committing crime itself in your name and with your tax money. As a convicted criminal, and as the head of a body whose policies of protecting child rapists are a clear threat to the children, the laws, and the sovereignty of the United States of America, Jorge Bergoglio needs to be prevented from entering America and deported if he does arrive. That's simply the law. Bergoglio must be confronted and exposed, for we know that children will die at the hands of him and his followers when he is in America. If we do not act and confront these child killers in church robes, the innocent children will die brutally in ninth circle sacrificial rituals that will be conducted in Catholic churches in Washington, D.C. on September 23rd and in Philadelphia on September 26th. We have learned that at least 4 children will be sacrificed in these ninth circle rituals, and 2 of these children, a boy and a girl, are Indian children from the Gila Reservation in Arizona. But even as we fight for the lives of these innocent children, and, as in any exorcism, we name and banish the evil in our midst, our real power over this entity lies not in attacking it, but in our active nullifying of its authority and legitimacy, and in a replacing of that power with a new authority, the law of God alone. And so even as some of us chosen for the task will be taking on and confronting this beast, the majority of Americans and people everywhere must publicly demonstrate the denial of it by boycotting Jorge Bergoglio and his visit. Turn off your television and internet and ignore the news coverage of his trip. Surround Catholic churches and call on its people to stay out of them and stop funding this murderous Church of Rome and giving it credence and legitimacy. Refuse to do anything during the 5 days of Bergoglio's visit to America, and instead fast and pray for his evil to depart. For by such a public lamentation and shunning of Bergoglio and his lies, we are weakening that lie, and we are nullifying its power to deceive and violate and murder. But even more importantly, by our turning our collective back on the entity of Rome in this way, we are embodying what is really a divine reality, which is the source of our power and our hope. The reality that in the face of the abomination in Rome and its centuries of crimes against God and humanity, God has nullified the false Church of Rome and all of the worldly authority that serves it. For we are in the brink of a new world, not the tyranny being concocted by global elites, but the reign of God's law as a new covenant with humanity. And so now each of us have to make a simple choice concerning what power we will now serve. Lies or the truth, life or mass murder, the global corporatocracy or the new common law covenant of free people that stands over and above our allegiance to all governments, all laws, and all religions. We will be demonstrating our allegiance to this new covenant in the days and the years ahead, and we invite all of you to join us for the children and for our future as people under one and only one authority, that of God and our godly conscience, as a republic of equal and sovereign people. I'm Kevin Annett, and I thank you.